Welcome back, everyone. Oz here, and today I've got some r/am I the asshole for you all. As per usual, I'll be reading the post, giving you my thoughts and opinions, and I hope you do the same down in the comments below. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. Froggy enthusiast. Am I the asshole for not telling my friend my shampoo had green hair dye in it? I'm a guy with a bright green mohawk. I've had green hair for a while. I have to use a lot of hairspray to get it to stick up, so I have to wash my hair almost every day. This makes the green fade pretty fast, so I mix green hair dye with my shampoo and conditioner to make the color last longer. This is a common thing people with colored hair do. Anyways, one of my friends stayed the night at my apartment after a show we went to because she missed her bus. In the morning, she asked if she could shower. She obviously didn't have anything of hers because she hadn't planned to stay the night, so I let her use my stuff. I showed her how to use my shower and told her to use my husband's shampoo and conditioner because mine is for my green hair. And she said okay. I gave her a towel, left, and she took a shower. When she came out, I heard her gasp and scream, and I asked her if she was okay. She started screaming that her hair was green, and sure enough, her blonde hair had green splotches all throughout. I asked her why she used my shampoo and conditioner when I told her it was for my green hair. And she said she thought it meant it was good, special shampoo. And I just wanted to keep it for myself and that I should have specifically told her it had green dye in it. For context, the bottles are pink and opaque, but the caps are clear and are now stained green. The liquid inside is also green from the dye. I told her I thought it was obvious what I meant, but if she didn't fully understand me, she should have just respected my things to not use them simply because I told her. She did not like that. She now won't talk to me and is telling all our friends I'm an asshole for not telling her about the dye. Maybe I could have been more specific, but I don't know. I don't think I'm the asshole here. Am I the asshole? Honestly, your best bet is just to tell your friends exactly what happened and let them know, yeah, I told her not to use my shampoo and conditioner because it's for my green hair. And when I told her not to use my shampoo and conditioner, I thought she would just respect the fact that I told her not to use my shampoo and conditioner. It's no different than if someone has specialty food because they have dietary restrictions and they say, hey, these are for me, don't eat them. And then after they're consumed, you find out, yeah, I asked you not to eat them because they're gluten-free, or insert dietary restriction here, and this was all I could eat. The response to that of being, well, why didn't you tell me it was gluten-free, is irrelevant. Because the problem isn't that they didn't tell you why you shouldn't eat their things. The problem is that you ate their things and now you're trying to cover for it by saying, well, no, it's actually your fault because you didn't describe why I shouldn't do this. Actually, unfortunately, as I describe and explain this random scenario here, I'm now realizing why warning signs near power stations have to have a picture of someone being electrocuted. I thought the warning sign was just because I would have too much fun around the power cables. Not that touching one of them would send me into cardiac arrest. Should really use better warning signs. She was warned, you warned her, she decided to do it anyways, and now she's trying to obfuscate blame for why there's green splotches in her hair to all their friends. It's not my fault there's green splotches, it's their fault, because they're the ones that didn't tell me about the shampoo. I didn't make this stupid mistake, they didn't warn me properly. It's that kind of logic. Otaka-sensei, am I the asshole for going no contact with my family after my mom went out for a few drinks with my ex-boyfriend? My dad is the best man alive. My brother and I never got really along, but my mom and I had a bad relationship. We're polar opposites, but we tried to do our job. Me being a good daughter by being respectful, having good grades, not getting into trouble, and so did her to be a good mom by keeping me fed, well-dressed, and taking care of me if I was sick. She hated my first boyfriend. I broke up with my first boyfriend in 2014. It was a 5-year relationship that ended. One of the motives that I kept with me all these years is that he said he would only marry me if I got thin. Mind you, I was overweight while he was morbidly obese taking meds for reducing blood fat. I had just baked a 3-tier cake for his grandma's birthday when he said that. To take revenge, he broke into my Facebook account and took prints of the nudes I sent another man, which I sent after we broke up, by the way, and sent them to my mom and my friends to say I cheated on him and he had proof. Okay, just to clarify, because it took me a bit to wrap my head around it because I'm a bit dumb. Basically, they broke up. One of the motivators that she kept was that he had made that comment, and after they had broken up, she started flirting with another man, and then he broke into her Facebook, took those photos, and sent them to the friends and family. Sorry, not sure if that was just a really dumb moment for me or if that explanation was needed. My mom trusted him in a heartbeat. After that, he was the only valuable man I had. I was kicked out of the house. She said to her friends I was becoming a hoe and a liar. After a long time, I came back home and everything was forgiven. But she was still friends with him. Even after all those years, she kept telling me about him, how he forgave me and all that bullshit. I kept telling her I'm not interested, and I hoped he choked on a dick. I knew they messaged every other day. It sickened me, but I kept my cool. Christmas of 2025, I had a new boyfriend and spent some time with family, and new boyfriend had time to meet my parents. Everything went surprisingly well. But 1 week later, she posted on the family group chat a photo of her drinking with my ex-boyfriend. They met alone at a shopping mall to drink and exchange Christmas gifts. I was furious. After that, I told her the "I will marry you only if you get thin" drama, and to that, she answered, "Well, nobody's perfect. I can never make anything right with you." My world came down crumbling. I cut every form of communication without a word after that. Even my dad and brother, because they were in this group chat and didn't say nothing. I felt so betrayed. Days after, she sent a message to my new boyfriend asking if I was okay. I just sent a lot of voice messages through my new boyfriend's phone, screaming everything I kept inside about how I felt about her. Said a lot of mean things and asked her to never make contact again. I really don't miss her, but I miss my dad and brother. I cry sometimes thinking about my dad especially. Some people are telling me there's nothing wrong with them being friends because what we, X and I, had is different from what they, Mom and X, have. So I have to respect and not dictate what they can or cannot do. And that I'm punishing my dad and brother for things they never did. I don't know. I feel icky and betrayed about everything, yet I feel so sad to not have my family anymore. What do you guys think? Edit. Yes, my father is married to my mom. He saw the photos and said nothing. Yes, I thought of the possibility of my ex and mom having an affair, but if dad said nothing after the photo, what can I say to him? I just jumped out. Neither my brother or dad tried to contact me since. It is a shame that revenge laws really didn't begin to enter the zeitgeist until, well, recently. And it's also still a shame that their statute of limitations is as shallow as they are. What your ex did was criminal behavior in modern standards, and it's fucked up that he did that. And the fact that your family saw no problem with it and have kept him around is horrendous and vile. They're horrible people. They accepted the words of a vindictive ex on face value and decided to side with him over their own daughter. And by the sounds of it, they would rather have that relationship. It definitely makes me wonder what kind of relationship the mother is having with the ex to make that kind of decision worth it. And now, time for my favorite victim-blaming comment that I stumbled upon while reading this from... I should probably censor that. I don't want to send a hate mob their way, but you should still be ashamed of yourself for this comment. You're the asshole for not telling that story to your mom when it happened, and you're the asshole to yourself for making it easy for your ex to get into your Facebook. So many times you could have stopped this situation before it started. Everyone sucks here, really. Your mom sounds like a turd. Haha, fuck you. Silver Job 4466. Am I the asshole for telling my sister her baby isn't my responsibility? I, 27 female, have a younger sister, 22 female, who had a baby last year. The dad left before she was even 6 months pregnant. It was ugly. He blocked her, denied it was his, the whole thing. When she gave birth, I was there. I held her hand. I slept in that uncomfortable hospital chair. I cried when my nephew was born. I love that little boy. Like, actually love him. And maybe that's the problem. At first, I stepped up because she was drowning. Postpartum hit hard. She'd call me at 2 a.m. crying because the baby wouldn't stop screaming and she thought she was a horrible mom. I'd drive over half asleep just to hold him so she could shower or sleep for an hour. I brought groceries because she forgot to eat. I stayed overnight sometimes because she said she hadn't slept in 2 days. But somewhere along the way, it stopped being, "Can you help?" and started being, "I'm dropping him off." There was one night that still makes my chest tight thinking about it. I had just gotten home after a 10-hour shift. I was exhausted. I hadn't eaten. My phone buzzed. "On my way, he's fussy." I hadn't agreed to anything. She showed up, handed me the diaper bag, kissed him, and left before I could even process it. I stood there holding a screaming baby in my work clothes while she drove off to God knows where. I ate cold takeout at midnight, bouncing him on my shoulder, and I remember thinking, I didn't choose this. I've canceled plans, missed birthdays, used PTO because daycare fell through. My manager even pulled me aside once and asked if things were stable at home. Financially, I've bought diapers, formula, paid a doctor copay once because she was short. She always says she'll pay me back. She doesn't. And every time I hesitate, my mom goes, "She's young, you're her big sister." Family shows up. Last week she asked if I could keep him from Friday to Sunday because she needs a mental health weekend. I said no. There was this long silence. Then she goes, "Wow, so I guess I know who I can't rely on." That broke something in me. I said, probably harsher than I meant to, "I love him, but I'm not a second parent. You chose to have him. I didn't." She started crying. Said I don't understand how hard it is being a single mom. Said I'm abandoning her. Now my mom is barely talking to me. She told me one day I'll need help too, and I'll remember this. And here's the part that makes me feel like a terrible person. When I imagine stepping back completely, I feel relief. But then I think about my nephew, and I feel sick because he didn't ask for any of this. He's just a baby. I don't want to punish him. I just don't want my entire life slowly becoming something I never agreed to. At the same time, I feel bad for my sister who's going through such tough times. Am I the asshole for setting boundaries even if it hurts my nephew? Comment below from Fast Sailor. Not the asshole and you know you're not. Sounds like your mom is volunteering to step up. OP responds, "I wish that were true, honestly. My mom says family shows up, but she doesn't actually take him overnight or cover bills or anything like that. It's easier for her to say, I should help, than to rearrange her own life. I think that's part of why I'm so frustrated. I've been the one physically there, the late nights, the PTO from work, the emergency diaper runs, and yet somehow I'm the selfish one for saying I'm tired. I don't mind being an aunt, I just don't want to be the default second parent." It sounded like you providing your assistance and being there for your nephew went from being just you helping and being something that was appreciated and they were thankful for to now an expectation. And you pulling away because it's actively harming you makes you selfish, apparently, in their eyes. If family quote-unquote shows up, then where the fuck is your mom at? Why isn't she doing any of this? Tell her that. You think you may have been too harsh, but I don't think you were harsh enough. Also, the line from your sister about you not knowing what it's like to be a single parent, honestly, by the sounds of it, neither does she, because she has you to rely on and to help her, and she's been taking advantage and abusing that. In an ideal world, you and your mother would both be stepping up and helping out when you can and when your schedules allow it, and when it's not going to overexhaust you. That way, the responsibilities are split between 3 people who can when they have the time to, and it becomes easier for everyone involved, except for your mother. But hey, after all, family shows up, right? But how to actually approach this, I have no idea, except for just being firm with your words and continuing to stand your ground and explain where you're coming from, the sacrifices that you've had to make already. Good luck, OP. And definitely not the asshole for standing your ground. Rugby Player 11. Am I the asshole? My wife and I came home at 3 a.m. and my mother-in-law acted like we were 16, sneaking into house. My 41 male spouse, 42 female, and I had plans to go hiking and have dinner with friends. We made our kids, 16 male and 12 female, sandwiches for lunch and called my spouse's mom and asked to bring the kids dinner because we would be gone into the evening. We also told the kids we would be out late. We've left our kids at home alone multiple times and we fully trust them. We just wanted to make sure they had something decent instead of warming something up, hence asking mother-in-law to bring food. Not once did we ask her to stay, nor did we expect her to. We have told her many times, you can stay and watch TV, due to her not having internet, if she wants, but she never has to stay. My spouse and I have an amazing day with great friends, and after dinner, they wanted to go back to their place to hang out more. Next thing we know, it's super late and we get a call from mother-in-law asking where we are. We were just about to head home anyway and said we would be home soon. Flash forward to arriving home, and mother-in-law is sitting in the living room of my house, fuming. No TV on or anything. I'd love to say she was sitting in the dark, but she wasn't that dramatic. She starts getting angry at us, commenting what time it is and how our 16-year-old shouldn't be up that late. Side note, we don't let him stay up that late all the time, but trying to manage a 16-year-old is hard enough as it is. 12-year-old had already called it a night and was asleep. Now, I'm a little upset because I don't like being accosted in my own home and being treated like a child sneaking in. I proceeded to tell her she did not have to stay, she was only supposed to grab dinner. She then tells us how disrespectful it is for not telling her where we were and why we were coming home so late. Now, if she had said this in a caring tone or even worried, this would not be a problem. This came off in a very angry tone. Even when leaving, she slammed the front door. Now today, she's saying it wasn't about when we came home, but rather she was worried and we did not tell her when we were coming home or where we were. She said, "You said you were going hiking and did dinner." That statement is truth. We just went with the flow and added more onto the evening. So, are we the assholes for not calling her and telling her we would be late even though we had no idea she would be staying past getting them dinner? Okay, so as a former child roughly a decade ago, give or take at this point, good God. Personally, if I was promised a night with no adults and I'd be allowed to, as a 16-year-old, do whatever the fuck I want, and then grandma stayed over and just ruined the vibes the whole night, I'd be pretty upset, not gonna lie. And that's just from the teenage perspective of being able to have a night with no rules or supervision. And for me, no rules and supervision meant that I could go to the gas station, buy a box of Mike and Ike's and a big soda, and come home, and then play Minecraft or Command & Conquer all night. I was quite the rebellious teenager if you didn't know. Now, on the parents' perspective, it would actually suck if you have a night that's like open to yourselves, your kids are doing what they're supposed to be doing, they're behaving, you're enjoying your time out, you're actually able to be a functioning adult and have some fun experiences that's not just work, responsibilities, bills, and bullshit, and then you come home and get treated like a child by your mother-in-law who overstayed her welcome and decided that she would be your parent again for one night. Like, you didn't ask her to do that. You guys are out without the faintest idea that she would be waiting for you guys the entire night to come home. She didn't message or text or anything, just like, waited. Honestly, the advice I'd give as a former child, just order some Domino's or Pizza Hut or something to the house. And just let them enjoy the night and have it be like special. That way mother-in-law is not involved at all. Definitely not the asshole. Don't forget the Oz Cup is on sale right now, and right now GamerSubs is also doing 20% off, so if you use code Oz at checkout, you get 20% off of the Oz Cup, plus the t-shirts if you want that. This is lasting until the 27th at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So yeah, link in the description, plus every purchase made using code Oz actually directly supports the channel, so you should do that. It'd be super cool. Realistic ad 8265. Am I the asshole for refusing to be civil with my brother's girlfriend? Hello, longtime lurker and first-time poster. Sorry if this post is a mess. For some backstory, I, 19 female, have 2 brothers, but only one is relevant. Let's call him Nolan, 20 male. Nolan, for the past 2 or 3 years, has been with his on-and-off-again girlfriend Izzy, 19 female. I've honestly never really liked Izzy, and for the longest time I couldn't really tell you why. However, I had began to somewhat warm up to her a little during late 2025. I won't say I liked her, but I didn't dislike her as much. Then, at the beginning of December, she messaged me, saying, "Don't tell anyone but send me Nolan's location." So, naturally, I called my brother, warning him before I sent her his location. About 30 or so minutes later, I get another message from her, asking her to tell her when he got home. confused, I messaged Nolan, warning him that she messaged me again and asked what the hell was going on. He only responds with, "Got her," and didn't respond for the rest of the evening. So I texted my mother a bit later. My father calls me, informing me that anytime Izzy messages me asking for Nolan's location, to ignore it, because she fucked up and is now trying to hunt him down to apologize. Now, I'm more confused, and once Nolan got home, I went to ask him questions, only to overhear that she has cheated on him with a newly married man. And even more importantly, this wasn't the first time. I have made past girlfriends who did similar things cry after going off on them, and when I offered to do the same, my brother told me no, to be the bigger person. So instead, I blocked and told Izzy to never message me again. Well, now Izzy is coming back over, and they're spending time together again. I didn't even know until my little brother, Mason, 13 male, said something to my father. My dad turned to me and told me to be nice, but I only told him that Nolan was asking to be cheated on before storming off to my room. Now, anytime she's over, I am less than welcoming. Thankfully, she mostly stays downstairs with Nolan, so I don't see her. But me and my mom had gotten into an argument when I found out Izzy was at the house one day. When I expressed my dislike and frustration about my brother's idiocy, my mom told me I needed to keep my mouth shut. I told her in response I would never like Izzy, and I would never even be civil with her if I could help it. My mom told me I needed to quit being a bitch and to suck it up, or else I was going to drive a wedge between me and Nolan. So I just want to know, is my mom right? Am I the asshole? Edit to add, I have yet to have an actual conversation with her since. I mostly try to ignore her, and she ignores me. The most extent we have interacted since is her asking if our communication professor, we have the class together, gave me good feedback on my speech. I said yes, but otherwise said nothing else and returned to chatting with my brother. Okay, so this one's a mess. I pulled this one from the r/am I the asshole filtered subreddit, which has the breakdown of the judgments. So this one has a 45% judgment of not the asshole, 42% judgment of you're the asshole, 6% judgment of everyone sucks here, and 5% judgment of no assholes here. So for those of you who skipped over the r/am I the asshole filtered videos thinking it was maybe a filtered or censored version, no, it was just double curated and had some really cool stats in it. That's my fault for not being able to properly explain that. Anyways, the comments seem to mostly break down to the fact of OP is not the asshole in general, however, the mother is right. It's good to let the brother make his own mistakes and let him just kind of deal with the consequences of what's going to naturally follow. I think I generally agree with the boat of it's best to let your brother make his own mistakes. However, the one thing that I'm kind of trying to wrap my head around. Now this is 100% tinfoil hat theory, but something I have noticed is that oftentimes when someone is cheating, they will oftentimes project that onto their partner. Well, if I'm cheating, then obviously they are too. So perhaps maybe Izzy was trying to get the brother's location and figure out when he's going to be home because she was suspicious that he was also cheating. Or perhaps maybe in a twist of events, he was actually cheating and Izzy kind of stumbled onto that. And that's why they're still together, because they both mutually cheated, so whatever. I don't know. The reason why that train of thought bugs me a little bit is because why contact the sister if you already don't have a great relationship with her? Was she maybe expecting girl code and the fact of your brother might be cheating on me, so help me out? Or if she was trying to use the sister to figure out when an ample time would be to cheat, why would she message the one person that she doesn't have a good relationship with? Or was she trying to maybe use the whole your brother might be cheating on me so I need your help angle to justify her cheating? I don't know. There's some moving parts there that my brain's trying to smush together, and it's failing to. And it feels like that's a piece of the puzzle that's being looked over by all the comments, and I don't know if I'm just, fixating on one random part of it and hyperanalyzing it, or if there is something there that just isn't being explored by others. Let me know what you think. My name TM. Am I the asshole for refusing to let my sister bring her kids to my wedding? I'm getting married in a little over 2 months, and my fiancé is adamant about not having kids at the wedding. It's a very hard no. I am of course backing her, as I don't really have a strong opinion either way, but I know she'll be more stressed out if there are kids running about at the venue. My sister has 2 toddlers and is traveling cross-country to be at the wedding. But now she's sort of dropping the problem of what to do with her kids on us, saying, "I hope you don't have too big of an issue when I bring them along." I get that it's far away and there's limited babysitting options if she trusted anyone with her kids, but is it my responsibility to cater for her kids so she can come to my wedding? Update. I should disclaim we only officially said no kids in the invites we sent about a week ago. It wasn't mentioned in the save the date. I called my sister and told her I can arrange for her kids to stay the 6 hours of the event with my best man's mom, as we've been friends since high school and she is acquainted with him. But she doesn't seem too keen. Later update. I asked, and you guys answered. Thanks for the people who pointed out that the info should have been on the save the date. I confess I wasn't very present in the arrangements at that time, and I did apologize to my sister for not communicating that earlier. So I had a chat with the venue to arrange a room further away from the actual ceremony and reception area, but still in the same building, to set up as a playroom for the kids. My sister and her husband, or our other family members in attendance, will have to take turns to stay and check on the kids for as long as they attend, as the venue staff are limited and busy. My fiancé agreed to this, as it is then still technically a child-free wedding, and I still believe she deserves the day she wants. Overall, a mess that could have been avoided, but this is the best I can do with the situation. Thanks for all the feedback. I know the unbiased third-party opinion thing only works if the info is honest, so I am now aware of my asshole-ish behavior in this. So, genuinely, good on OP for recognizing that there was an issue, listening to other people's feedback, not doubling down, and also taking the time to actually find a solution and make sure that options were available for their oversight and making sure that people weren't inconvenienced further because they made a mistake. That's actually a really admirable way to find the solution for it and to solve the problem. So, hats off to you. Is it perfect? No. But with the circumstances at hand, I'd say it works out pretty well. Priority Ecstatic 7255. Would I be the asshole for telling my significant other he can't play video games at night? So I, 22 female, have been dating Alex, 25 male, for 2.5 years. He loves video games as a collecting hobby. It's never bothered me, as he's a great partner and an attentive father. However, recently our schedules have changed, and I'm now going to bed before he gets home, as he gets home at 9:30 p.m. and I have to wake up at 4 a.m. for work. We live in a small duplex and don't have room for his computer anywhere but our bedroom, facing our bed. He wants to play video games at night while I'm trying to sleep, with a bright-ass screen. I don't know what to do. The only time he has to partake in his hobby is at night when I and the kids are sleeping, but I cannot sleep with any type of lights or sound. It's keeping me up and driving me mad. So, would I be the asshole if I told him he can't play his games? A comment from Swirly Flurry. You're the asshole if you just straight out tell him that he can't play video games at night. There needs to be a compromise, not an edict. You say there's nowhere else the computer can go, but does that mean there is absolutely no other space in the entire duplex? Or just that the bedroom is the most convenient spot for it, and moving it would require rearranging other rooms and moving other furniture? You say the light and sound bother you. Have you tried earplugs, headphones, and an eye mask? Actual good ones? And given yourself time to get used to them? I'm willing to bet there are things you could do to accommodate both your early bedtime and his limited hobby time. But just telling him no more gaming at night is the easier route for you, so that's the one you're defaulting to. Now it's time for some eyes ideas on how to fix this problem. So moving the desk out of the bedroom with kids around probably isn't going to work because no one's going to be comfortable having expensive electronics around what I assume to be young children. That's a recipe for an expensive disaster. So it might be confined to be within the master bedroom. Now, here are some options. First thing you could do is turn the desk around 180 degrees so that way it's facing a wall. Get some highly absorbent light paint. Might be a bit expensive, but it does exist. And get yourself a highly light absorbent tarp that can just pretty much absorb as much light as possible. I would say get black paint, but to get like a 99.4 light absorbing black paint, it's like $25 for 10 milliliters. It's a bit expensive. And then get yourself some low-profile gaming peripherals like a silent mouse and silent keyboard. Those actually do exist. And boom, like 90% of the problem is solved. You might have to get used to wearing earplugs or something along those lines, but your light problem is mostly solved, your sound problem is mostly solved. It just requires maybe a soft eye mask and some earplugs, and boom, everyone gets what they need. But that's just one solution that I just kind of thought of off the top of my head there. There are probably a lot of other ways to handle this, ones that are far more efficient and require a lot less work. But either way, I don't think asking your boyfriend to sacrifice his downtime is a worthwhile approach, because it's going to lead to resentment, it's going to lead to burnout, it's going to lead to him being unhappy, and sometimes people just need a way to unwind after a long day. And it sounds like that's the only time he really has to do that. But also, you shouldn't have to be sacrificing your sleep and what makes you function as a human, because after all, if you don't get enough sleep, you're also going to be unhappy and burnt out. Contrary to what my body believes, sleep is important. Bastard. I think at a minimum you two do need to just sit down and talk this out and figure out what can or cannot change and what approaches might be worthwhile. Hell, who knows, maybe there is a way that you guys can move everything out to the living room or something along those lines and just boom, easy solution right there. I don't know though. I do know that I personally wouldn't dare play some kind of video game in the same room as someone who's sleeping. I feel like that would just be really disrespectful, but I can also understand there's a bit of a compromise/cramping issue going on in the duplex right now. That's leading to some kind of unfortunate compromises being made. But I'd be curious to hear some of your ideas on how you would approach this, solve this, or what you would or would not do in this situation. I think everyone would approach this differently by default, and it'd be interesting to hear those opinions. Oh boy, the outro! So right now, GamerSupps is doing a 20% off for all partner codes, up until the 27th at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So hey, you know what you could do? You could use code OZ at checkout and get the cup and the shirt for 20% off. Wouldn't that be super cool? Oh, and I was serious, by the way, about if we sold 5,000 cups that I would get my hair styled like the cup. So, hey, there's that. Dyed and everything.